Imagine waking up one day to find your entire world collapsing, cities burning, kingdoms falling, and an unstoppable enemy coming from the sea. For the ancients of the Bronze Age, this wasn't a legend, it was reality. In less than 50 years, nearly every major civilization was wiped from the map. Egypt, Mycenaean, the Hittites, all brought to their knees by a mysterious force historians still struggle to understand. Who were these invaders? Where did they come from? And how did they destroy the powerful world that came before us? During the Late Bronze Age, the Mediterranean was a thriving world of wealthy cities, international trade, and powerful empires. But around 1200 BCE, everything changed. A wave of destruction rolled across the ancient world, a collapse so sudden and devastating that historians call it the Bronze Age apocalypse. At the center of it all, a shadowy group known only as the Sea Peoples. Before the collapse, the ancient Mediterranean was interconnected. Ships carried copper, tin, gold, and luxury goods between Egypt, Greece, Anatolia, and Canaan. Empires like the Egyptians, the Hittites, the Mycenaean Greeks, and the Canaanite city-states were at the height of their power. It was a world of kings, scribes, chariots, and thriving economies. But this prosperity made them vulnerable, because when disaster struck, it struck everywhere at once. Evidence shows that around 1200 BCE, cities began to fall one after another: Ugarit, Troy, Cyprus, Mycenae, and dozens more. Letters discovered in the ruins of Ugarit describe desperate pleas for help. The enemy ships are here. Our cities are burning. Send aid. But aid never arrived. Why? Because the attackers moved faster, struck harder, and seemed to come from everywhere at once. These weren't simple raiders. They were organized, mobile, and deadly. We still don't know exactly who the Sea Peoples were. Egyptian records give us the only eyewitness accounts. They list names such as the Shurdan, the Peliset, the Denyen, the Shekelesh, and the Jeker. Some theories say they were refugees fleeing famine. Others believe they were displaced warriors searching for new lands. Some think they were entire nations on the move, men, women, and children traveling with wagons and ships. What we do know is this: they came by land and sea, they brought their families with them, and they were determined to settle, not just raid. The mighty Hittite Empire, once rivals of Egypt, fell almost overnight. Their capital, Hattusa, was abandoned and burned. To this day, historians debate whether the Sea Peoples delivered the final blow. The palaces of Mycenae, Pylos, and Tiryns, the world of the Trojan War, collapsed. Cities were burned and abandoned. Writing systems vanished for centuries. The coastal cities of Canaan, like Ashkelon, Akko, and Gaza, were destroyed or taken over by newcomers believed to be the Peliset, a group many scholars link to the Philistines of the Bible. By this point, the Sea Peoples had erased entire civilizations from existence. Only one superpower remained: Pharaoh Ramesses III, ruler of the last strong Egyptian empire, faced the full force of the Sea Peoples. Egyptian reliefs show massive battles on land and sea, ships colliding, archers firing from the shores, warriors leaping between vessels, and bodies sinking beneath the Nile. Ramesses III claimed victory, and it may be true. Egypt survived, but only barely. The empire was weakened permanently, and it never recovered its former glory. Even victory could not stop the collapse of the world around them. Historians believe the Sea Peoples may have been driven by multiple disasters happening at once: megadroughts, crop failures, famine, earthquakes, civil wars, and the collapse of trade networks. Imagine a chain reaction. One kingdom falls, refugees flee, they invade a neighbor, that neighbor collapses, and more migrations begin. The ancient world was fragile. Once one link broke, everything shattered. When the dust settled, the Bronze Age was gone. Cities lay in ruins, writing systems were forgotten. Global trade vanished for centuries, but from this destruction came a new world: the rise of the Greek city-states, the birth of new kingdoms, and the eventual emergence of Israel, Phoenicia, and archaic Greece. The fall of the Old World created the foundations for the classical civilizations to come. To this day, the Sea Peoples remain one of history's most terrifying mysteries. Were they refugees, invaders, a coalition of warriors, or victims of a collapsing world? We may never know the full truth. But one thing is certain: they changed the course of human history and erased entire civilizations along the way. Sometimes the greatest forces in history come not from empires, but from the shadows beyond them.